Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. In the last episode, we began the series. It was episode 1. We picked up the Possession and Devil's Kiss vigors. We tried out the pistol, and we killed our first fireman. Let's continue. Skipping a bit of plot here, we're about to use the skyhook for its intended purpose rather than for shenanigans. We're leaping to these big magnetic hooks. It allows us to do a special kind of drop-down assassination attack with the skyhook, though I'm not going to do it here. Instead, I'm going to take cover behind these boxes, and I didn't really remember exactly how this went. I just remember that there were guys over here, and here's one now. And what you can do is you can drop down over there and kill this guy, and then, as his friends come in, you can jump back onto the hook, right there, and do another one and kind of rinse and repeat. Or you can do what I'm doing, and I'm sure there's many other ways to approach this fight, but you can do what I'm doing and take cover behind these boxes and just shoot through this little peephole. And I have complete cover. They can't hit me from here, and they're kind of stupid. They don't really know what to do in this situation. The best defense they can muster seems to be to run out into my line of sight, stare into my general direction, and watch as I murder their friends with impunity, generally with shots to the crotch. Whatever. And there's one guy left, and I can hear him, so I'm being a little cautious here. And here he comes, and I think this might be our first example of a melee execute coming up, or at least with the lightning. Gruesome. That is from the lightning punch, something like that. Don't know the exact name of the gear. It's from a hat, I believe. I got it in the Blue Ribbon bar or restaurant. It gives me a 70% chance that every time I melee, the enemy is stunned and then made vulnerable for 4 seconds. I relied on that gear through a good chunk of my first playthrough as a melee booker. It was really the cornerstone of my build. And compared to the Flame Halo, or whatever it's called, the hat that makes you do fire damage, I found it to be a lot better. The stun is just incredible because you can stun lock tough enemies like firemen or, well, others that we haven't seen yet, and kill them easily just by meleeing them over and over again. And I hacked, or rather possessed, I'm going to wind up calling it hack 90% of the time, but possessed this turret because I thought there might be other guys about, but they're not, so now I'm doing the turret dance where I peek around a corner, shoot a few times, then retreat, and rinse and repeat. I'm going to be skipping a bunch of plot in this video. I'm going to skip a couple of really small combats as well. There's just some whole side areas that I'm not going to show just because it was me looking through boxes and then killing maybe 2 guys. So just in general, stuff like that that kind of disrupts the flow of the video will be skipped. The turret's dead. Now we have a whole bunch of other guys. Here I'm going to lay a trap, and I'm going to use this area as cover. It gives me high ground, gives me a corner to peek around, and as you probably know, if you're an FPS gamer, corners are overpowered. So stick to the corner, peek around it when I need to, and there we go, there's the trap. And he died, so my ghostly soldier gear procced, and it's not really a proc, it's guaranteed whenever you kill anybody with a trap, but his weapon, his machine gun, is now floating in the air and acting as kind of a temporary turret for me. Also, you might have noticed, I actually didn't notice in all the time I've played the game until watching this video, the barrel will actually heat up on the machine gun when you fire it full auto until the barrel is red hot, which is a pretty neat little bit of polish. Speaking of the look of the guns, I am a little disappointed that when you upgrade guns in this game, and you can upgrade them, you can upgrade them up to 4 times, they don't change appearance like they did in the previous BioShocks. In the previous BioShocks, they got cool, steampunky looking aesthetics added to them. Whereas in this game, and I kind of understand why they did that, why they didn't add the visual upgrades, because they have more than 3 upgrades now. They have 4, and it was just getting to be a bit much. More importantly, there are obviously alternate skins of the weapons, because I got a gold machine gun, whereas there's kind of a matte black version, I think is the default. There's also just a lot more weapons in the game this time around. Unfortunately, that has a side effect that while there are more weapons and more variety, each weapon is a little bit less special than in the previous game. I do have a worry, and that worry is that they didn't add new upgrades to the weapon so that they could have these alternate skins and then sell skins as DLC. That's my biggest fear. If they did that, then shame. Shame, I say! But if not, then okay, I guess. I definitely would have preferred it the old way, just because it gave more... I don't know, it just made the weapons more unique, it gave them more flavor, it really emphasized the steampunky nature of the game. I still like how they look in this game, they're just not as cool looking, I guess. I just miss that sense of accomplishment, the sense of power you felt when you upgraded a weapon. I don't know. Sorry, I got on a bit of a tangent there. You might have noticed earlier that rather than possessing the turret on that barge, I possessed one of the policemen, a policewoman actually, I think, and that way the turret was distracted and I was able to kill the turret without worry. I went through that glass window that I shot out, and I went through the apartment building. There was no need to show you guys going through the whole thing. And I came upon this chest. You'll come upon many more of these throughout the course of the game. They always contain goodies, and they are always locked. So you have to find the key in the level to open the chest, and I will show the location of that key later. Moving on, we just skipped a couple houses, actually, but no combat up until now. I peeked out of the door, saw some guys, and suddenly I'm also being attacked from behind. There's guys that poured in behind me. So I'm in kind of a bad spot, but they trigger that one trap, and I'm just getting out of here. I survive, I killed a couple guys with the pistol, I finished that guy off, and now I managed to get myself trapped into a very, very small bathroom. So I'm placing a trap just in case, but oh, right as I place it, they all come running and all instantly die, except for this guy who, yeah. So that actually went surprisingly well, despite the fact that I was completely surrounded with really nowhere to run. And yeah, this guy seems to have had an accident. Not only did I kill him, I raped his corpse. That was unfortunate. But I really could not have asked for a better result to that combat than that. Now we are going into the headquarters of kind of a secret society, I guess. A lodge. A men's lodge. This is, I don't know exactly what it's called. It's essentially the Order of the Raven. These guys worship, not worship, but revere, I think, Comstock's wife. And they now associate with the Raven to keep watch on the city. It's kind of plot related. If you're really interested, I highly recommend that you play the game like everybody else is doing. This building was so interesting and so unique that despite the fact that I wanted this playthrough to focus on combat, I felt that it was worth talking about. You can tell that this place is pretty messed up, though, and I'll get to that in a second. Beyond just the bird shit everywhere and the crows flying about and the dark, dank atmosphere. I wasn't sure if these guys were actually enemies. Sometimes you face civilians that will just cower in fear, and I try to avoid killing them. I'm not totally sure if the game has alternate endings, but just in case, to get as happy an ending as possible, I want to avoid killing innocents. I am literally popping heads. Again, we're going to be editing out some plot. A lot of things I edit out are just the voxophones, which are a lot like, essentially identical to the audio diaries from the previous games. And here we have a portrait of Abraham Lincoln being assassinated by John Wilkes Booth. And John Wilkes Booth has a halo around his head, and Abraham Lincoln has devil horns. Just a bit of social commentary here. Next, we see a statue of John Wilkes Booth. You know, a society is pretty hard to describe it without using a pejorative here. Pretty, we'll just say, messed up. Pretty when they venerate John Wilkes Booth for killing the man who freed the slaves in America. That's a bit disgusting. There's a word. But let us carry on. I just really needed to point that out because it horrified me the first time I saw it. Here's one of their secret rituals. I'll let you listen in on a little bit. Look at them doing their little crow dance. Little crow dance. Aww. I'm going to place traps here. I'm going to kind of crash the party. Trap there, trap the other side, and then the fun shall begin. And here we go. We didn't start the fire, bitches! It was always burning. Since the world's been turning, we didn't start the fire. No, we didn't light it, but we tried to fight it. So they're all dead. Well, they're all wounded. Now they're going to chase after me into this nice kill zone. I could have placed more traps here. Unnecessary, though, because straight line, just fire, dead, fire, dead. They're just getting mowed down. They're all melee enemies. Very easily dealt with. And there are a few more. Somebody's actually shooting at me. There he goes. He actually walked into a headshot. And I think this is the last of the group, other than their happy little dance captain. Oh no, there was another one. Who is no longer here. He has fled the area with coffin in tow. And that's that. I'm going to show the location of the key to the chest I pointed out earlier. And also, I'm going to pick up an infusion. And I'm going to, again, spec into salts. Just pure salts until it's maxed out. Then I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to put points into health. Something like that.
Just what the doctor
I might do an even mix between health and shields. But for now, pure salts. This is a secret chamber in the next big room. The room with the projector. I figured I may as well just point it out while I'm here. It's real hard to miss, though. But regardless, I like to talk about each piece of gear I find. This is a pair of pants. Whenever I jump on or off a skyline, it reloads my weapon. Brace for something horrifying. The squeamish should look away. I mean, it's not that bad, but it's pretty horrifying. Having a man eaten by crows for the horrible sin of being born Chinese. Oh, humanity. Hate comes so easily to you. As I was saying, and we're about to have another kind of mini-boss fight like with the firemen earlier. I have never used that piece of gear I just found. I'm not sure if it just reloads your weapon or if it actually fills up your ammunition. If it's the latter, that's actually quite powerful, and I'll have to test that out at some point. If it's the former, reload times aren't that bad, and it's situational because you only find skylines every so often. So I set traps here for this guy, and I make big mistakes on this fight. I should have placed way more fire traps, and I am far, far too conservative with my salts throughout this fight. It's a mentality I need to just get into. I'm used to, in BioShock games, using plasmids, or in this game, salts, as supplementary things. In this playthrough, I'm using it as really a primary source of damage. So I need to not be so hesitant to actually use my salts, especially when I've passed so many bottles of salts. I have extra salts. I can use them. I've prepared and planned to use them, but I don't. And here I get stuck. I lagged a bit. I get these random lag spikes. Actually, they're pretty regular when I'm recording. So I lagged, I got caught on a wall, got turned around, he hit me in the back, and he does a lot of damage. He's melee, he has no range attack, but he teleports and he moves very quickly. And if he hits you, he'll kill me in about 2 other hits. And he's already so near death, but I just can't hit him to finish him off. I should be moving farther away, and there, he hits me again. I need to just create distance between the two of us, and I'm almost panicking here. Again, he hits me. I missed with my cast of Devil's Kiss, and look how much salts I have. Just cast the plasmid, or rather the salts. Just cast it, but no, I'm just tunnel visioning him, and just determined to kill him with my machine gun. I do manage to do it, but I am very, very near death, and there was absolutely no reason for that. Here we pick up a new vigor. This is Murder of Crows.
Press to summon murderous crows. Hold and release to create a nest trap.
Murder of Crows is a vigor that I didn't really use that much in the previous playthrough. I think I should probably try it out more in this one. And also, it's a good idea in this fight, if you can, to place traps in front of those doors. At least the one on the left, because enemies always come out of there at the end of this. And I very, very, very nearly died here from the guys that came into the door at the end of the fight. And here I'm saying I need to not be in a dead end. I'm just running away and placing traps and running away and placing traps and trying not to die. Very, very close. I'm going for the Scavenger Hunt achievement, so I cannot spend money on healing up at that dollar bill station. And I placed a trap there, and I'm finally in a position where I have a door, I have kind of a kill zone set up, and I can finish these guys off. At the end of the day, it's kind of funny. I should have used those salts more so on... Oh, and he died from the trap, so that's his weapon being ghostified. I wish it floated a bit more rather than just stayed statically in the air. I wish it kind of bobbed up and down. That would have been a nice bit of polish, but it doesn't really matter, I guess. I wound up using all the extra salts I saved in the boss fight on those guys, but I still had quite a bit left over at the end of it, and there was a bottle right there. I could have gone downstairs to get more. It was a mess. It could have been done better. I've only ever done it once, and the first time I did it, it was on hard, and it was a lot easier. I didn't have to worry about it so much. But now I know, and hopefully now you know, and you won't make the same mistakes that I did. This building is clear. We are going to pick up right here. New gear. I like to rhyme. This, in my opinion, is inferior to the lightning punch gear, the lightning punch hat. It's not actually called that, but it's essentially what it does. It lights this one, the Halo one, it lights enemies on fire and does considerable damage to them when you punch them. The same chance, 70%, but the stun is just way too good for the lightning punch one, the other hat. So personally, I think that's a far better bet, at least in my experience. And I'm placing traps in all of the different avenues that these guys can possibly come up. And they don't go up any of the stairs. They refuse. I think enemies are actually intelligent enough in this game to not trigger traps. This isn't the first I've witnessed this. I think they are smart, which seems strange because they're so dumb so much of the rest of the time. But they just would not come up and kill me. Now, if they were melee, they would have had to, but these guys are all machine gun users or pistol users. So I just kind of wait around because I just use a whole bunch of salts trying to coerce these guys up to their deaths. But it won't come up. I do still have the high ground, so eventually I just start shooting at them. And the machine gun is actually quite accurate. especially if you fire in bursts, and that's where I got frustrated and threw a grenade at them, and oh, there's an oil slick there. Well, that was fortunate. In retrospect, that's probably what I should have done right from the beginning. Wait for them to coalesce around that oil slick, throw a single grenade, and kill basically all of them instantly. Again, now I know. And knowing is half the battle. Oh, and I spent freaking forever trying to find that last dude until I found him squatting behind this... whatever it is. I don't know. Words. I went back, I skipped all the running back to the chest, went back to the chest, got the last infusion, at least I know for the level, again, salts, and now we are literally just a hop, skip, and a jump away from the end of the level. And there were 2 guys there, but I actually killed them before I doubled back to get the last infusion, but it really was nothing special. And that's it. Thanks guys for watching, stay tuned for more. Please like the video if you liked it, please sub if you'd like to see more. Leave comments, feedback, ask questions, I'll get back to you. This episode is part of a playlist, it is episode 2 in a series consisting of 2 episodes at this point, so please check out episode number 1 if you are interested. Please check out my channel, I have lots of other stuff, over 600 videos, I have about half of a work-in-progress BioShock series, and I think that's it. Have a good one, guys.